Reeva Steenkamp was a beautiful and successful model, television personality, and law graduate. Born in Cape Town, South Africa, Reeva had worked hard to build a career in modeling and was well on her way to becoming a prominent figure in the entertainment industry. She was also known for her activism, particularly for women's rights and animal rights. Reeva's life seemed to be one of glamour and success. She was also in a high-profile relationship with Oscar Pistorius, a famous South African Paralympic athlete who had become an international sensation. Pistorius, known as the Blade Runner for his prosthetic running blades, was a symbol of overcoming adversity. Having competed in the Olympics despite losing both his legs at a young age, Reeva and Oscar had been dating for a few months and their relationship appeared to be full of promise. However, that promise would be shattered in the early hours of February 14, 2013, when Reeva was tragically killed at Pistorius' home. On the night of February 13, 2013, Reeva and Oscar had spent a quiet evening together at his upscale home in the Silverwoods country estate, Pretoria. The couple had a dinner date and were reportedly in good spirits. Reeva had shared a few Instagram photos earlier that day and had even posted a sweet Valentine's Day message to Oscar. But that peaceful evening took a dark turn in the early hours of February 14th. Around 3 a.m., Oscar Pistorius fired 4 shots through the locked door of a bathroom in his home. Behind the door was Reeva Steenkamp, who had locked herself in the bathroom after an argument with Pistorius. Oscar claimed that he thought an intruder had broken into his home and that he fired in self-defense. He stated that he did not realize Reeva was in the bathroom until after he had fired the shots. But the police investigation revealed a far different story. The investigation into Reeva's murder revealed several inconsistencies in Pistorius' account of the events. For one, there was no sign of a break-in at the house. Additionally, forensic experts found that the bullets had been fired at close range, suggesting that Pistorius had been aware of Reeva's presence in the bathroom when he fired the shots. Further complicating the case was the revelation that Reeva had suffered gunshot wounds to her arm and head. If Pistorius had truly believed he was shooting an intruder, why would he have fired at a person who had already been struck by bullets? Investigators began to question whether the shooting had been intentional. The case quickly became a media sensation, both in South Africa and internationally. Pistorius was arrested and charged with murder, and his trial began in 2014. He faced charges of premeditated murder, but his defense team argued that he had acted in self-defense after mistaking Reeva for an intruder. Throughout the trial, Pistorius' emotional testimony made headlines. He described his deep love for Reeva and his shock at realizing what had happened. But the prosecution painted a different picture, suggesting that Pistorius had acted out of anger and jealousy after an argument with Reeva. The trial lasted for several months, with both sides presenting conflicting evidence. Pistorius' defense tried to argue that he had been in a state of fear when he fired the shots, while the prosecution contended that the shooting was premeditated. In September 2014, Pistorius was found guilty of culpable homicide, which is similar to manslaughter in South African law. The judge ruled that Pistorius had acted recklessly but had not intended to kill Reeva. However, the decision was controversial, and many felt that Pistorius should have been convicted of murder. His original sentence was 5 years in prison for culpable homicide. In December 2015, the South African Supreme Court of Appeal found Pistorius guilty of murder and increased his sentence to 6 years in prison. The decision was a significant blow to Pistorius' defense, and many believed that the court had made a final determination on the severity of his crime. After his conviction, Pistorius' life as a celebrated athlete was over. His fall from grace was swift and dramatic, and the case of Reeva Steenkamp's murder became a tragic symbol of domestic violence and celebrity gone wrong. Oscar Pistorius served time in prison but was later released on parole in 2015. However, his legal battles continued. In 2017, Pistorius' sentence was extended to 13 years and 5 months after the case was reviewed again. Despite his time in prison, Pistorius' story has not reached its final chapter. There are still ongoing debates about his guilt, and the case remains a source of intense public interest.